Welcome to the Real Facts on Real Estate podcast, presented by Sean Patrick Maloney. In this series, we educate real estate agents on how to find success in the industry and grow their wealth to six-figure commissions and beyond. Now here is your host, Sean Maloney.
Welcome to episode 274, 3 Ways to Add Value as a Buyer's Agent. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week, guys. Guys, there's a lot going on in the news. We see it all the time. We're talking all about the different problems to come when it comes to buyer's agency and the NAR settlement. But the truth is, no one really knows what it means. Today's episode, what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to ensure you understand 3 ways to add value to your clients and things you absolutely should not do. That way there you don't mess it up and you do well and you end up growing a business that you're not worried about getting paid. People are worried about how they can hire you and how they can have you be their agent. These are things I've done, things that work for me, and I wanted to share them today with you. If you haven't already done so, make sure to jump on the web, realfactsonrealestate.com. Check us out on Facebook. And also make sure to pound that subscribe button, hit the notifications. That way there you hear about the new episodes as they come out. All right, guys, one of the best ways to add value to a buyer is to teach them. I know this seems so silly and so simple, but the truth is agents all the time take it that the buyer knows and understands the process more than they do, period, end of story. What do I mean by it? They just rely that the fact that they do this daily, that everyone understands every step. The truth is, no one understands any of the steps, and it's very important that you guide them on the entire process because we're going to normalize everything. And where does the guiding really start? Well, the guiding starts at some of the first interactions. When you meet with them on the first showings and you talk about how you work together, you go over a buyer agency agreement if you're using one. Obviously, post-July, you will be using one. You go over step by step. If you go to an open house, you're going to notify other agents about me. If you go and you get a pre-approval, you're going to give it to me within 7 days. All these different parameters you want them to understand. That way there, they know how to put one foot in front of the other and successfully buy a house. Because at the end of the day, people like to refer and like to work with people they know, like, and trust. By teaching them the entire process, you're certainly going to gain their liking of you. They're going to know that you know what you're talking about, so they're going to trust you, right? So we can build that trust through education. Realize nothing is too simple, nothing is too easy. Always explain. The most simple stuff you can think of makes a great topic of discussion. And anytime a buyer ever asks you a question, remember it and realize that you didn't tell them the answer to that question. That's why the question came up. Now you have ammunition for future conversations with other buyers. That way there you can tell them and you can arm them with that information so they are not caught off guard like your past client was. There's a weirdness to our business where sometimes agents don't accept what was their own fault and they think of it as like, oh, my buyer is so silly or my seller is so silly. But you are their guide and mentor in this process, so guide them properly. You're going to add huge value to them. Next up, communication. Communication is something that's hard to explain to a client that you have yet to work with because everyone says they're a great communicator. But what happens when things get bad? What happens when things get off hours? What happens when clients call it inopportune times? Great communication leads to great reviews, leads to raving clients, which leads to more buyers learning about your services. So by adding the value of great communication, you're going to build your business at a level that you may not have thought of. You may not have realized how many people could talk about you till you give them a great experience. One of the things about me, guys, try calling my phone and having me not answer. If I don't answer, I'm in the shower, I'm asleep, something basic, and even asleep half the time I wake up and answer my phone anyways. I work hard and I really communicate with my clients great. I try to make sure that they understand everything, and really honestly, it's because in the past I didn't always do that, right? When I first started, I thought, oh, they understand this, so I don't have to communicate with them. They'll know that the P&S is due tomorrow. No, communicate, call them, tell them, hey guys, communication, here we go. Tomorrow we're going to have a purchase and sale agreement. We're going to need a check. That way there, the communication was there. Always communicate. People will end up sharing that and you'll have raving clients. Last but not least, number 3, keep a pulse on the market and offer market insights that buyers may not have been able to obtain by themselves or maybe have not just known about. market reports, off-market listings, all these different things that we can add as an industry professional add certain value. Guys, too often agents just sit back, let Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, and all these other MLS syndicators be the server of all listings and the aggregator of all future showings. This is terrible. Add value by making suggestions. Add value by looking at property. Add value by trying to find listings, which leads to off-market listings, which leads to information. Be a great communicator. Build a network. But ultimately, keep a pulse on the market that no one else has. That way there, when you meet with people and they say, what do you think this is worth? You can say real information like, oh, well, I just saw 40 Spring Street sold for $4.99, so the information seems on, versus going, I don't know, let me look it up. Now, I'm an agent that believes people can work in multiple communities. You don't have to just work in one community anymore. But that said, if you're just going to bounce from community to community without learning anything, without studying anything, without taking the time it probably takes, don't do it at all, guys. You don't want to work in places you don't understand, because there's nothing worse than a bad review or an unhappy client. That is not a way to add value, and it's going to destroy your business if you do it. Guys, always look to add value. Don't just add something. Oh, don't just, fill in the blank air. That's the worst thing you can possibly do. Guys, if you just simply do these three things, one of them just being properly explain the process, the next one being communication, last one being add value, market-related data, and off-market properties, you're going to have raving clients, you're going to have great reviews, great referrals, and you're going to grow your business. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. If you haven't already done so, make sure to pound the subscribe button and also check us out on the web, realfactsonrealestate.com. I look forward to talking to you next week.